Hello guys, this is a Genesis Engine here, and welcome to another episode of Engines of Metrolink. Last time we talked about the EMD F59PH, and as stated before, we will be doing the Sentinel fleet, aka Metrolink's older cab cars, the Gen 1s and Gen 2s. No, not that. There. They were made by several companies, but the main builder was Bombardier, hence the name Bombardier Bi-Level, as these cars are called. Now, I know, you're probably wondering, Alec, why the hell are you discussing the cab cars on Metrolink when they don't even have engines to begin with? Well, there's three reasons why. The first one is that they actually have cabs to operate for push-pull movements, the second is that they have brake discs that help stop the train, and the third is that they are electrically operated by head-end power and actually have a horn and bell to alert people at railroad crossings and stations. So anyways, let's get this show on the road. In the 1980s and 1990s, LA was seen as one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, hence its population today. A commuter service was badly needed. Southern Pacific tried to answer with its Caltrain train that ran between LA and Oxnard. When that failed, the city of LA turned to buses, but that was just causing graffiti artists to spray graffiti on the back of the buses. Looking at neighboring counties, LA saw that other counties were needing some commuter service as well. After looking at Caltrain, the RTA, the later Metra, and the Tri-Rail at the opposite side of the United States, the Los Angeles County and four other counties formed the Southern California Regional Rail Authority in 1991, with the service beginning in October 1992 with Metrolink. Metrolink already had the locomotives to pull trains, but they were missing the most important step to a successful commuter service: passenger cars. Luckily, Hawker Siddeley Canada had a solution for Metrolink, being built in their Thunder-based shops in Fort William, Ontario. HSC, looking at the coaches they handed to Go Transit, decided to hand Metrolink those same coaches, only with a twist, and that twist happened to be 31 cab cars. They were numbered from 601 to 631, and built between 1991 and 1993. A singular cab car can weigh up to 110,000 pounds, or 50,000 kilograms, which is equal to 55 tons. They get their power from 480 or 575 volts from head-end power depending on the locomotive. The car has a length of 85 feet, width of 9 feet 10 inches, and a height of 15 feet 11 inches. Later on, Bombardier would take over in making these cars. The cab cars had quite a lot of horns. Some had K5LAs, some had old cast Nathan P2s, others got new cast P2s, and they even had air whistles early in service. After I introduce the Gen 2s, I will play samples for you. After receiving 14 F59PHIs in 1994, 1995, and 2001, with 2 of those orders being placed due to canceled projects and orders, in 1997, Metrolink ordered 6 more cab cars numbered 632 to 637. These cab cars, however, were different from the Gen 1s. These were called the Gen 2s. Okay, enough with that. Although they are originally the Gen 3s as stated by Bombardier. You can tell these 2 cars apart because the Gen 1s only have 2 windows, one for the door and one for the cab, while the Gen 2s have 3, one for the door, one for the cab, and one for the passenger view. The Gen 2s also had a different builder. Whereas the Gen 1s had been built by HSC, the Gen 2s were built by the Urban Transportation Development Corporation, or UTDC. The Gen 2s are basically the same specifications as the Gen 1s and had the same horns, only the Gen 2s had an extra horn, that being the Nathan K2, and they also did not use air whistles. Now I'll show you samples of each horn and whistle. Of course, no locomotive or rail car for that matter can go without one accident. On April 23, 2002, a Metrolink train stopped at Placentia and only a minute later was hit by a BNSF freight from Hobart Yard. Gen 2 cab car 634 was partially crunched into itself. This killed 2 people in the Metrolink train. 634 was retired. The next year, a Gen 1 cab car 608 collided with the Ford F-550 and derailed in Burbank, killing 1 in the truck and fatally injuring a passenger, and also rendering 608 too damaged to continue on. In 2005, Metrolink trains 901 and 100 were involved in a major accident in Glendale. As stated in the last episode, the locomotive survived, but Gen 1 cab cars 623 and 625 didn't. 625 was completely destroyed on both ends, while 623 was hit by a jackknifing 625 and landed on its side. Out of all the Sentinel fleet that were involved in major accidents, only the one involved in the worst accident on Metrolink survived. Gen 1 617. It was on the end of Metrolink 111 when 855 smashed head-on with UP SD-70 Aces. It was completely undamaged in the accident compared to its cabless cousin at the front of the train. Since then, there have been no other accidents with the older fleet, but tougher times soon came ahead for these beloved railcars. In 2010, due to how old they were and how easy it was for the railcars to be wrecked, given the accidents at Placentia, Burbank, and Glendale, Metrolink ordered several new passenger cars from Hyundai Rotem as the replacements to the cab cars. The appropriately named Rotem fleet featured a crash energy management cab that couldn't be smashed into itself, but unlike 634, can't be damaged from rollover unlike 608 and 623, and can't have its cab destroyed from wreck damage unlike 625. This would take a hit on the cab cars. However, there is something else that the Rotem cab cars have that would be the final nail in the coffin for the Sentinel fleet. Positive train control. An automatic fail-safe system that would be able to stop trains whenever they go over speed limit for too long, go too fast past the yellow signal, go past a red signal, are at risk with it colliding with another train, about to hit a switch not set in the path for them, or are runaways with no drivers. In the end, the Rotems won against the Sentinels. Even though the Sentinels won the battle in the Oxnard derailment of 2015, they didn't win the war in the years following. From 2017 to 2019, all older equipment were put in storage. However, unlike the engines, the fate of the cab cars have been decided. They would be, and some still are being, turned into coaches by Metrolink, and as late as 2021, Talgo has also joined in on the renovation with help from Amtrak by transporting the cars from Los Angeles to Talgo shops in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Sentinel fleet may have died out on Metrolink, but several other railroads have their own Bombardier cab cars, Ace, Coaster, Caltrain, Trinity Rail Express, etc., although they are becoming scarce due to Bombardier's 9th generation.
Kids, won't you step outside for a second?
Dear Lord, that's the loudest profanity I've ever heard.
Or with Hyundai Rotem's cab cars. So it's best you head your way to your local commuter railway and see them before it's too late. On Metrolink, however, they have served well for 25 years for the quirky-looking things that they were. They always will be, and technically still are, a part of the history of Metrolink, the Southern California Regional Rail Authority. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Engines of Metrolink. I'll go further into Metrolink's history when I discuss a fan favorite, the EMD F59 PHI. Stay tuned, and thank you again for watching.